How you doing, everybody? This is Jim Buck with Black Shoes Campers of Southern California out of the City of Industry. And today we're going to do an instructional video on how to prepare your HQ models for the winter storage months. So let's get into this. Let's get going. Now, before we get started, what I'd like to make sure to point out is we're utilizing an HQ15 for this demonstration and demonstration purposes only. So how your unit is set up is going to depend on the unit year, the production time, any kind of different things. There's all kinds of things that can change the factors of what you may or may not be seeing. So we're hopefully hoping that at least getting the general idea of what you're looking to do will be the most helpful, and that's what we're doing here. So right now I'm going to be starting here at the back of our HQ15, our Black Series HQ model. And so what you're going to want to do is make sure that you are at a proper sewage receptacle so you can dump your tanks. You want to make sure that your black and your gray tanks have been dumped and cleared out. So that's one of the first things we're going to do. After you get those tanks pulled, then what you're going to do, you're going to want to crawl underneath and you're going to empty out your drinking water tank and your general water tank by turning the ball valves so that way you can allow the water to drain. So once you've gotten your black tank and your gray tank drained, and you've also been able to get your drinking and your general water tank drained, then your next step is going to be to come over here to the exterior panel for your hot water heater. This should be the last of what you need to be draining by way of a tank. So you have this little flip valve, you flip this up, you twist it, which allows you to open this door. Now the next step, what you're going to do to drain your hot water tank is there's a very nice little cap right up in here. You're going to access underneath this valve right here. You're going to be utilizing a 24mm socket, and you're going to come here and you're going to remove this cap. Now this is just a blow-by valve. You can even kind of open this a little bit if you want to help allow the air to get in so that way the water can come out quicker, but you don't have to, it'll drain either way. But this is the cap that you're going to be removing. Once you get this drained off, you're going to leave the cap off, you're going to head inside. So here we are inside at our next location. So where you're going to find the filter, because we're going to be messing with the filtration system, is here underneath the sink. So I'm going to open up the cabinets here and look inside. And so in here, underneath the sink with the triple filtration system, you're going to be starting to close off the valves. We want to divert the water away from where it is. So you're going to start flipping one of the main waterways. So that's going to redirect through the hoses. And then you're going to flip the valve for the main hose. Then you're going to reach across. You're going to be able to disconnect the hose on the opposite side. And then you're going to come back and remove the little red retaining clip. And what that will do, now make sure you don't lose that retaining clip. And what you're going to do is you're going to push up, because on the base there is a lock on the valve there. You're going to remove the hose. And then what you'll do is the little white hose, you'll be able to pull that across. Now the white hose is what's going to feed the water to your drinking water spigot. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and remove the whole assembly. You just lift up gently, remove it from the screws. You can see how there's little hooks there. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the hose out of the way so you don't cause any damage to the hose. And you'll pull it out. And then once you have it out, you're going to find a tool. You know, it's going to come with your unit. It's a large white tool. And you're going to take off each filter. Now, beware, there is going to be a lot of water in each container. So take them off. Now, you also want to make sure you're paying close attention to which filter is in which location. You do want to put them back in the correct order. So we're going to loosen all these up. And once we have them all loose, then we're going to be able to remove each of the containers. And it very easily, it just unscrews, nice and simple. You unscrew it, and then you can set it aside. Now again, like I said, it is going to be full of water. So we're going to get this one off here. There we go. Let's set that off to the side. Then we can unscrew the other one. And yeah, it is a little bit tight here, trying to squeeze your hand in there. But we get the next one off. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that off to the side. And again, we're trying to make sure we remember what order that these filters are in. Now you can take this time to leave the filters out at this time, depending on how much you've used them, and use this time to replace them and just hold them out for when you next use it. So here's one of the filters. You can see, we can kind of drain off some of the water, allow it to drip out a bit. You could maybe possibly even leave it out to thoroughly dry. What we're going to do, we're going to dump the water out that was in the bucket, and you can put that filter back in if you wish. But again, try to drain off as much of that water as you can if you are going to put them back in. So that way we can avoid any possible issues with potential freezing. Again, that's why there is a thought of use this time to replace your filters and leave these empty. So that way there's no water in the system. So we get this one drained off as best we can. You can flip it over so you can kind of make sure we get water out of both ends here. And then we're going to take this and we're going to dump that off a little bit too. And now we're going to do our last one. So we're going to go ahead and pull that one out. This is our charcoal filter. And we're going to allow this to kind of drain out as best that we can. And then once we get that drained out, we're going to dump that water. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to go ahead and put those all back together. Make sure they are fit in correctly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and reinstall them. But again, you could use this time to replace your filters if you wish, again, depending on your use. So we're going to screw all three of these back in. You can utilize, the grip on the top. You can see there's some indentations that will allow you to kind of grip. It makes it a little bit easier if you'd like, but you also don't have any water filled in this, so it's a little bit easier than trying to squeeze your hands on the side. So we're going to get this screwed back in tightly. Make sure it's all secure. We're going to tighten it back down with the tool that comes along with it, the wrench. And once we have that all done, we got one done. Let's get this second one done here. All right, and then we're going to work on the third one. And so once we got this third one done, then we're going to go ahead and replace it. So we're going to put it back in. We're going to connect it back on the wall. So you just gentle little lift, get the screws in through the large hole so it slides back down. Now we're going to flip the valve. Now this is the valve that's on the other side, so we have this in a closed position. That's going to be the one that's going to go against the wall. And again, you can see that little hose right there where that connects back onto. There we go. We're going to almost get it there. Get it lined up. It is towards the back of the cabinet, so it can be a little hard to visibly see. So once we get that, then we're going to come back to the front side. We're going to hook the main water hose back into the system. There we go. We got that plugged in there. Now we're going to leave that valve turned in the off position. See how it's crossing it? We're going to leave that off. But here we are. We're going to put that retaining clip back on. Make sure you get that back in place. So now that we've finished doing what we had to get done with the sink, with the triple filtration system, now we've moved up here to the front to the hot water heater. So what I've done is you have to push the bed or your mattress up out of the way so you can access the panel to get into your hot water heater. So once you're in there, you're going to close off the red tube, which is the hot water, close off the blue tube, which is the cold water, and then you're going to open the valve that's in the middle of those two. Now, once we do that, we're going to go back underneath our unit. So now that we're back underneath, we're here at the general water tank. So one of the things you're going to do is you're going to close the ball valve, and you're going to use like a flat blade screwdriver again to remove that clip, but be very careful not to break the clip because again, you are going to be using it. So once you've got that off, you're going to go ahead and remove the suction hose. This is the hose that's going to transport the water up into your HQ model. And so it can be stuck a little bit. Just kind of work it a little bit, pull that hose out. So once you get out, you're going to get a little bit of water. Now, what you're going to do is you want to create or make a special siphon tube. And that siphon tube, it's just a valve, is going to connect to that intake because that intake is what's connected to your water pump. So once you connect this, it's very easily, you're just going to push it up against it, lock it in place there. Once you get it locked, which is fine, you don't need to put a retainer clip on. Then you're going to take the end of that hose and you're going to place that directly into the bucket of antifreeze. Now this way, by doing it this way, we're avoiding filling our water tank with antifreeze, and we're just utilizing the system. So we're going to go back inside, we're going to turn on the general water pump, and then we're going to go to our faucet and turn on the cold water. Now once you have that running, you're going to run that until you have antifreeze coming out of your pumps, or out of your spigot. Then you flip it over to the hot water side and repeat that process. Then when you're done with that, you go to the bathroom and you run the bathroom sink hot and cold, so that way you have antifreeze in both of those systems. Once you're done with that, you grab the shower head and you do the exact same process. Turn it on for the hot, turn it on for the cold. And each time you need to make sure that you have antifreeze coming out of whatever appliance you're using, so that way you know both sides are covered with the antifreeze, so that way you don't have any freezing or breaking hoses. Then when you get to the toilet, you're just going to step on the valve and you're going to allow it to run until you get antifreeze. Same thing with the outside shower. We're going to go outside, we're going to open up the shower, we're going to run the cold water and get antifreeze through the cold water valve, and then run the hot water and get antifreeze through the hot water valve. And you can kind of dap it off a little bit so that way you don't have antifreeze dripping down the side of your unit. Replace everything. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go and pull the siphon hose, the tool, off, and you're going to replace your hose, your water hose, back onto the valve. So you're going to put the retaining clip back on, and you're going to leave that valve closed that you turn the water on. Then when you're done, you got it hooked up, then you put the valve back on. So otherwise you're going to have potential water dripping out of it. So with the next one, now we're back with the drinking water, which is a little bit harder to access because it is underneath in between the axles here. So the same thing, you're going to remove the clip, get the clip off as best you can. But before that, you are going to turn off the water. You turn off that ball valve, and then you're going to get the clip off, that retaining clip. And again, you are in kind of a precarious position here trying to get that clip off. So once you get that clip off, and again, be careful not to break these retaining clips. They are fairly sturdy, but again, you want to be careful with them. So there we go. There's that retaining clip I was talking about. And so we're going to pull this hose out, and keep in mind, little water is going to drip out. It might drip on your forehead, so you might want to just kind of be alert for that. So again, same thing. We're going to put our siphon tube on here. We're going to just push that on and connect. There we go. Once we get that put on there. Now again, to release it, at the bottom of that, there is a release clip. You would just gently push on the very base of that, and that would draw back in, and that would allow you to get it off. So here we are with our bottle. We're going to put that hose back into our bottle. We're going to turn on our drinking water pump, go to our spigot for our drinking water, and we're going to run that, again, same thing, until we get our antifreeze coming out of the discharge for our drinking water. Again, the whole goal is to have antifreeze in the system to keep all of your pipes and hoses from breaking. So once you've done that, you go back underneath. Again, you're going to push on the bottom of that valve so you can get that siphon tube off. You're going to replace that back into where it goes. Again, you gotta be a little tactile with this because of the positioning for it. So once you get that put on, you're gonna put your retaining clip on. There we go, and we're just gonna go right on the end there. We're gonna push that right into place. Make sure that's secure, very good. Okay, once everything is there, we're gonna pull down our insulation. We can turn that tube back on. Now we're gonna go back up and we're gonna replace the cap for the hot water heater. We're just gonna screw this back in as much as we can. Then we're gonna take our 24mm socket. There we go, ratchet that. We're gonna tighten that up, make sure that's nice and snug. That way we don't have any leakage later on. Make sure all of the valves are closed, that blow-by valve that I mentioned earlier, make sure that that is closed up too, otherwise water will shoot out of that when you have water in it later on. So there you have it, the winterization of our Black Series HQ models. Hopefully we're able to get you all the information you may need, and that way you're able to successfully be able to winterize your own unit in the future. So if you have any questions, please be sure to send us an email at info@blackseriescamper.com, and we'll get an answer out to you as quickly as we can. So again, this is Jim Buck with Black Series Campers, Southern California, out of the City of Industry, with our HQ model winterization process, saying take care everybody, have a great day. How you doing everybody? This is Jim Buck with Black Series Campers of Southern California, out of the City of Industry. And we hope that you enjoyed the last video of a series that we just got finished watching. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to ask to make sure that you please like and subscribe to our channel so that way you can see all of the videos that are coming up in our series. So make sure that you get out there, you smash that bell up in that corner up there. And again, this is Jim Buck with Black Series Camper, so we hope you enjoyed that video. Take care everybody, have a great day.